In the previous tutorial, we showed you how to add 100 series, each with 10,000 data points, for a total of 1 million points to a SciChart surface using SciChart.js high-performance JavaScript charts. In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to add zooming and panning behavior to this chart. Before you start, head over to our GitHub. If you don't have the code already, it's abtsoftware/SciChart.js.examples, and under tutorials, you'll need to grab the code for tutorial number 2, which we're going to build on for this example. In order to add zooming and panning to the chart, we need to declare some classes called chart modifiers. SciChart has a number of built-in chart modifiers that come out of the box that let you add zooming, panning, zoom to fit, Mousewheel Zoom, tooltip, legend behavior, and more. Let's start by adding some imports. The following imports, found in the SciChart charting chart modifiers directory, are adding these kind of behaviors to our chart. So the rubber band XY zoom modifier lets you drag with the mouse a rectangle that you want to zoom into. The zoom pan modifier lets you pan the chart around on mouse drag. The Mousewheel Zoom modifier lets you zoom in and out by using the mouse wheel, and the Zoom Extents modifier adds the behavior to zoom to fit on double click. Let's go ahead and add these to our chart. All we need to do is to declare these modifiers one at a time and add them to this property. Chart modifiers is a collection, rather like the renderable series collection or the X or Y axis collection. As soon as you add a modifier to this collection, the behavior has been added to the chart. Let's go ahead and see what we've built. So you can now drag a region, and when you let go, it will zoom into that region. You can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out, and finally, if you double click, you can zoom to fit. There are some other behaviors in SciChart, such as zoom panning, but these are incompatible with the dragging as we want to use the left mouse. So in the next section, what we're going to do is add some user interface to our chart so that we can turn different zooming and panning behaviors on and off. Let's extend this application a little bit to add some user interface to enable and disable various modifiers in SciChart. You can grab this HTML that I've just pasted in from our GitHub page. Essentially, it's just a few checkboxes that we're going to use to enable and disable different elements of the chart. Next, in index.js, what we want to do is we want to add multiple zoom and pan modifiers to the chart. This kind of code should be familiar to you by now. We're creating a mouse wheel zoom modifier, a zoom pan modifier, a rubber band XY zoom modifier, and a zoom extents modifier, and adding them all to the SciChart surface via the chart modifiers collection. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the elements that we just created in HTML by using document get element by ID. And finally, one by one, we're going to add some code that looks a little bit like this that will allow us to enable and disable our different modifiers. Each modifier has a property called isEnabled. By default, this is true, but we want to disable this so that we can actually have different modifiers enabled at different times. Let's have a look at it in the application and see how it works. There we go. So we've got panning enabled, but when we check this checkbox, we now have zooming enabled. We can double click to zoom to extents, and we can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Using some techniques like this, you can give your users the ability to have a fairly seamless zooming and panning experience. Perhaps you want to have a keyboard shortcut or perhaps a different mouse button or something like that that would enable you to turn on and off the different behaviors.